Hazvisi zina kumira zvakanaka muri Zimbabwe kudzoka zvekare pano pachivhitivhiti kuti tikuonesei dzimwe dzenyaya dziri kuitika munyika yeZimbabwe. Chekutanga chandinoda kuti nditaure kuti munzwisise nyaya ndiri kutaura nezvayo. MaMPs vari kurambidzwa kuti vavhote muchivande kuti vasarudze nyaya yeCAB 3 muparliament. Vakathreatenwa nezuro pane vhidhiyo riri kutenderera mumastreets esocial media riri kutaura nyaya yekusvasvangwa kwevanhu neshamhu nemunyu. Ziyambi ndiye aitaura mashoko iwayo. Right, tinoda kuti tionesane muri Zimbabwe kuti vari kuramba referendum. Vakurambidza zvekare kuti maMPs vavhote in secret kuti vasarudze munhu wavanoda. Vakutaura kuti munomiswa vanenge vasingade kuvhotera kana kuti CAB 3 vanoenda kuside uku. Vari kuda CAB 3 voenda kuside uku. Saka angasimuke ndiani pakadaro ivo vachithreatena vanhu zvakadai so. Right, toita chimwe chinhu zvekare. Chindimba chavari kushandisa ndo chindimba chavari kutoshandisira isusu vanhu futi. Ndofunga makaona mapublic consultation kuti kwakange kuchishandiswa chindimba ichocho vakanga vachiforsa vanhu vachiita zvakasiyana siyana. But tisingapedzere nguva hedu ndofunga warning yapiwa naVP Chiwenga maione iri kucirculate mastreets esocial media iri kutenderera. Isusu tiri kutaura kuti vanhu vari kutaura kunze havazobvumidzwe kuvhota muparliament. Vanenge vakungovhoterwa ikoko executive yachinenge yakuvhoterwa nemasenators nemaMPs. Iwo maMPs acho ari kutothreatenwa nhasi. Ko pacho pavachaita successful neCAB 3 yavo pachava nemwe achapinda here kana kuti chinenge chatotorwa chindimba chini. Naizvozvo muri Zimbabwe toda tionesane nyaya iyi kuti CAB 3 chinhu chisina basa. CAB 3 yakafa kudhara. CAB 3 hatina basa nayo. Chatingaite basa nacho chii chakaitwa naEmmerson Mnangagwa chatingashuvire nhasi kuti aramba aripo ari president. Hatina kana shungu naye dzekuti aramba aripo ipapo tisu mayouth enyika yeZimbabwe. Hatina basa naye kuti aramba aripo. Chatiri kuda tinoda kuti pange paine vamwe vanhu vatsva vanokwanisa kutonga nyika iyi. Kwete munhu anofunga dumbu rake iye pachake. Naizvozvo isusu ndo patakamira ipapo kutovhiringa kuti CAB 3 kana ichiendesa kuhondo CAB 3 vanhu vazhinji mayouth ari ready kusataura but mayouth ari ready kuti kana CAB 3 mitaura kuti inoita kuti vanhu vaite hondo munyika. Mayouth ari ready paizvozvo kurwira constitution yakaiswa 2013. Constitution yakaiswa 2013 haibviswe nekuda kweCAB 3. CAB 3 tiri kuona kuti inoda kubenefita mbavha. Vanhu varida kulegitimize upfumi hwavakaba nemari dzedu isusu. Saka naizvozvo muri Zimbabwe ndo mamira zvakaita. But according to comrade from team Chiwenga, vane kutaura kwavo kwavari kuita pano. Kwandoda kuti ndingopenengura mungogara maziva chokwadi chezvimwe zvinhu zviri kuitika munyika yeZimbabwe. Vari kuva vachiti Ziyambi says no to secret bill voting in parliament as fear grows that MP might reject CAB 3. It is said MPs are supporting Chiwenga. A video of Justice Minister Ziyambi rejecting secret voting in parliament for CAB 3 is trending on social media. First, they rejected a referendum. Now they are rejecting MPs' right to vote in secret. It is clear that this bill is not supported by the people, yet it is being forced to them using intimidation, money, and fear. Imagine, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to bribe MPs, but they are still not convinced that MP will vote for it. This is a threat to our independence. Some say Ziyambi should be taken to court for this, and others say his action might trigger an uprising. It is believed that many MPs are supporting VP Chiwenga. Ziyambi rejection of a secret ballot is seen as an evidence that Chiwenga has a strong support in parliament and the Senate. Saka naizvozvo muri Zimbabwe ndo nyaya iripo. Uyo anonzi ED nekampani yake vanotoda kutoimpichwa vabviswe vaende kumajeri vachibva ipapo. Naizvozvo ndo mamira zvakaita. Tinokutendai chose nekutira kwenyu chakusiyai makateerera comrades edu pano pachivhitivhiti.
Ziyambi coming out speaking for the party or speaking on behalf of the party and standing there sending a message that we are going to be publicly policing you as members so that a vote can be secured. What does that say about the amendment itself? Those are the questions that we need to be asking. Because we is way past just discussing CAB 3. We are discussing the future of constitutionalism in Zimbabwe. Our discussion is now where the parliament still represents the people of Zimbabwe. Our discussion is now on whether that August House has become an extension of party command. Is this where we are as a people? Or you said, yes, there's nothing amiss, there. Because us as a political party, and also as provided in the constitution, there is a thing that is called a chief whip, who can whip the party members into line. He even said, munorohwa neshamhu ine munyu sekutaura kunoita president. A whipping system, ladies and gentlemen, is legitimate. Because this is where we need to make the distinction. And this is where distinction becomes important. A whipping system is legitimate, but it is legitimate for ordinary legislation, not for a constitutional amendment. Here's why. If you want to compare, even go to South Africa, the one that they are saying, oh yes, we want to bring South Africa into Zimbabwe. There's always a demarcation line. There's always a bright line between ordinary bills where party discipline is asked to be normal. But when it comes to a constitutional amendment, MPs are expected to be exercising their independent judgment. Because a constitution is not a party document. Constitutions are not party documents. They are a national, they are a national thing. They belong to the nation. ZANU-PF is not Zimbabwe. So by whipping MPs on a constitutional amendment, that act alone undermines the idea that the constitution belongs to the people of Zimbabwe, not to a political party. So the key point here, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm trying to, to drive home is to say a party can whip on policy, but a party cannot legitimately whip on the rules of the political system itself. Because ZANU-PF wants to rewrite these rules that affect it as a political party by rewriting the political system, the rules of the political system, and yet they're only a player. So surely, if they want to be doing that, then everybody has to be involved because they are not the only political party in Zimbabwe. When you go to the elections, we don't vote ZANU-PF alone. There is a contest. Right now in that August House, there are MPs from opposition. They were voted for under a political system. And any attempt to change that political system through whipping cannot be taken to be legitimate. Because a constitutional amendment in itself requires free consent, not coerced compliance. And as I said, under Section 328, there is an assumption that MPs when it comes to a constitutional amendment, they'll be free to vote, because amending the constitution is the most serious act a parliament can undertake. So if you then start to be telling your MPs how to vote, that your vote will be public, that any dissent will be punished, then the vote is no longer a democratic expression. It becomes a command performance, as I said earlier on. So the key point here is to say a coerced vote is not a constitutional vote. If you're coercing people to vote or to behave in a certain way with regards to a constitutional amendment, then that is no longer a constitutional vote. You are simply showing force. You are simply demonstrating your power. The whipping system, as we borrowed it from Westminster, is a system that exists to coordinate policy, not to suppress conscience. And that is important. A chief whip, if you choose or if you select a chief whip, you are just saying, we are giving you the mandate to be organizing our party strategy in parliament to ensure that there's going to be attendance in parliament. And you want to ensure that there's cohesion on party policy. But their role is not to override conscience. Their role is not to override constituents' interests, because they are serving our interest in there. They are serving the interests of their constituencies, the constituencies that voted them into power. Yes, they might have won under a ZANU-PF ticket, but remember, in that constituency, when it comes to such matters like this, as we witnessed in 2000 with the vote no, even people who would have voted a certain political party into power within a constituency can change their mind. So whipping should never be used to override a constitutional duty and to override the separation of powers. When you get Togarepi using the whip as an instrument of fear rather than coordination, then that Mount Hampton House or the Augusta House ceases to be a legislative body and it becomes an extension of Emerson Mnangagwa. That is what it becomes. And we should not sit idly when such things are happening. Because in a normal democracy, the public voting, like what thing, Ziambi Squared, is talking about, it is not a problem. In a normal democracy, it is not a problem. This one here that is saying, oh, yes, we want to, public voting, it is not a problem, because in a normal democracy, an MP can dissent without losing their livelihood. An MP can go against their political party and they can never be affected. They can still get their sitting allowance. They can still, retain if they were given, if they were given money to buy a constituent's house or a house outside of their constituents. They can still retain, all that. They will not even be fearing that an X is going to be, is going to fall upon a head. They will not be they will not be fearful of anything. Even the car that they were given, they will not fear that the car will be taken away. They will not fear that. But in Zimbabwe, the return whipping of MPs is done in a way that it brings a threat to their existence. Some can even be promised that you are going to be meeting your maker very soon. When they descend, they are punished. And the challenge that is there is the center in terms of the party is responsible for candidate selection, and that is how stupid our politics has become, such that you answer to the party leadership instead of answering to your people, the people that have voted for you or that voted you into power. And that has become the problem with our party politics in Zimbabwe. Instead of you doing things according to the wishes of the people, you have to satisfy the leader of the party. Because you've got the fear of explosion, the fear of recall, or the fear of political retaliation that is hanging over your head. And under those circumstances, rest assured that the removal of the secret ballot is being indicated by Ziyambi